Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another jam we got going on here. I just wanted to apologize to anybody who was watching yesterday. I'm going to get into it in just a second, but I think I'm starting to get the feeling I actually might be getting hacked, and I'll explain why. I thought so for a little while, but I thought it was an overreaction, and I was just getting paranoid. But a buddy of mine was like, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean no one's watching you. And I kind of laughed at it, but I'll explain what I mean by why I think that way, and it might explain some of the bizarre stuff that's been happening during select streams. Certain streams, just really bizarre stuff have been going on, and they're inexplicable. And I've tried to research the problem, and I've talked to people who use the software, and I've gone into all that, and everybody's telling me like they've never seen it before, they've never seen anything like it, and then the other day the way I work sometimes is if I'm editing a video or something like that, I just spent some money on my backyard. And I live in California. So I'd go downstairs and go outside to the backyard, dial in with my Surface Pro and dial into the computer upstairs and work on it from there remotely. And I tried to do that about 3 days ago, and it wouldn't let me in. And it was acting, it said, I forget the exact message. I wish I would have screenshot it, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. But it said something along the lines of that port is already in use, or someone or there's already someone logged into that port. So I was just like, what the hell is that? So I came upstairs to look at the computer, and it's normally on a lock screen, but it wasn't. It was open, and there was like software open on it, like random programs that I don't really use. So I didn't think anything of it until again my buddy was like, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're not being watched. And I kind of freaked out about it, and was like, so now I'm like spooked out, right? Because the topics that we talk about are like right up that alley where it's where if someone's trying to freak you out, like they can do that. But like during the streams, like it's weird that I would I'd hit a certain point, and all of my audio would drop out of all of my scenes. Or like one time the camera dropped out of all of my scenes. And like literally live on stream, I had to freaking go in, and like if you're familiar with the way that type of software works, there's like pre-created scenes that you set it all up in advance, and it's got all the graphics and everything you want to each scene, so you can just lay into it. And then I went ahead and set all that up, and like normally it works fine. Like sometimes I'll have an audio issue or something, but it's my fault for just being an amateur, just stupid stuff. But this stuff was like inexplicable. Like every single scene had lost its video, every single scene had lost its audio. And like I don't know until someone says something. And and Jacqueline here on Facebook is saying they're always watching. Yeah, Jacqueline, right? So I was like freaking out. So now I'm back to my old software. It's web-based software, just because I'm paranoid. And with using the web server, they won't. No one will be able to mess with this if I am right. If I'm not just paranoid, it can't be messed with unless they actually took control of my mouse and started really freaking me out. So I figured, all right, let me go ahead and do it this way. So, and you know what? I get to put the comments up again, and I get to do some things that software didn't really work well with anyway. So, I think we're going to stay with this forum going forward for the live stuff, and just kind of keep it conversation for live events, and just sort of get your feedback on what's going on. But yeah, if you know anything about computers, and you know anything about like, you know, I mean, I'm looking for someone to tell me I'm just crazy, and that I kind of am. Like, I'm not jumping on the I'm being hacked by some deep state operative or something. Like, but at the same time, like it is creepy, and it does seem like someone hacked me. So I'm a little bit freaked out about it. And if someone could just give me an idea, if anyone used OBS Streamlabs in the past, and you can explain why that stuff would happen, it would be great, because everybody I know that's used it has no idea, and are all like messing with me and trying to convince me that I'm being hacked by the deep state. And it's working because of the material we cover. It does sort of sit in the back of your head, even though you laugh it off. it does sort of sit in the back of your head, like maybe they are, like. But I don't think I have enough followers. I would say this: if I mean, with 1,000 or so, a few thousand people on that follow. I would say this: if we are, if I was getting hacked by the deep state, I kind of take it as a compliment. I kind of take it like, hey, like that's not the worst thing, at least I'm on their radar, these dirtbags, right? but but anyway, yeah, Jacqueline says, so it wouldn't surprise me. I've been hacked twice. Yeah, hacked is one thing, but like this would be a next level type of thing. This would be like they're literally dialing in during my broadcast to mess with me. Like so. I mean, right now I'm still kind of playing. I don't really. I mean, I hope that that's not the case. But yeah, like Jacqueline says, you don't put it past, right? You don't put it past. But the reason I came on, so yesterday I put out, after the stream went haywire, I put out I did a recorded version of the point that I was trying to make about ESGs. If you didn't catch any of that, definitely catch that video. It was a good explanation for why companies are so woke, why these corporations seem to defy logic and business sense when they go out and do these woke things, like Coca-Cola putting out a training telling their employees to be less white, or Disney. The list is long, but the latest one is trying to support or trying to fight against legislation that protects parents and children, and why, and all of their weird seeing eye stuff, and then Apple with the emoji, right, with the man being pregnant. It's like why are they doing this when they know that how wrong it is? And ESGs are the reason. It's environmental, social, and governance score that companies are literally scored upon. I mean, check out the video; it's interesting. But their financing is as impacted as it is as their credit score. All right, so that's why they do this, because they have to score well, and it's creepy as hell. It's the same 21 metrics that we went over with the Great Reset on the WEF website when they list them off. Ruben Rodriguez, that's a pregnant man. I thought it was a beer belly. No, that's a pregnant man, bro. That's a pregnant man. So, and it's crazy. It's super creepy. And again, the reason they're doing it is for these ESGs. I thought it was a man with a beer belly. No, then it would be a cool emoji. Maybe that's how you sell it to your kids, right? When they just be like, no, that's just a guy with a beer belly. But yeah, but it's really bizarre how that went down, and all these different things that they're doing. But check out the video. I'll break it down for you. The company that's scoring all these corporations, I don't have to tell you who owns them, right? Right in the video, I go to the website and show it to you. But today I wanted to get into Elon Musk, because this whole thing fascinates me. The entire Twitter buyout fascinates me. I wasn't going to believe that they were going to sell it to him until it was done. And there's still some things that could screw it up, but it looks like it's done. If any party backs out at this point, it's likely that's going to cost somebody a ton of money. So it looks like it's done. I think it's $1 billion if Elon Musk violates any of the terms of the contract. So it looks like it's done. And immediately upon hearing that it was done, I went to our account, which we never use. I might have tweeted once the very first time we started the account. And then it went so long that we didn't use it. I forgot the logins and couldn't log in. I had to create another one, and that's why our tag is not at thepatriotthinktank.com. It's at patriotthinktank.com with our username, the Patriot Think Tank. But I have been tweeting. Up a storm. I'm getting used to the platform. I never, if you saw our very early episodes, like we'd be like, follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. It'd be like F Twitter. Like that was pretty much our stance on Twitter all this time. But now that it's the free speech bastion, so they say, we're going to put it to the test, right? So we're going to get out there and get ourselves on. So if you are on Twitter, we have like no followers right now because I just jumped. We have like 3 followers, but like I just literally sent the first tweet yesterday. So I'm trying to get the word out now to go ahead and follow us on Twitter, because all the cool kids are there now. And there was, I'm curious to know too, if you leave in the comments, if you have a Twitter account, if this has changed anything for you, or if you don't have a Twitter account, is this something that would make you want to get on Twitter? Because the dynamic here is pretty interesting, right? Because True Social is just trying to get off the ground, which really was created because Twitter was not free, and Trump loves Twitter. And now Twitter's free and about to invite Trump back. Like, does Trump go? Like, because that's kind of against his own interests at this point, So here's Jacqueline says she just signed up and will follow us. Thank you, Jacqueline. We appreciate it. Yeah, so it's weird. I guess I feel like this about it. We put a kind of a funny tweet as our first tweet. My take is there's just a lot going on here, right? So we got the Trump issue, like, so he's going to invite Trump back, and which was one of his big problems about Twitter, right? So the irony would be he spends $45 billion to buy Twitter to let Trump back on, and Trump goes, "Nah, bro, I'm good." I don't even know, but like that's a possibility. That's a legitimate possibility. So like it's going to be interesting to watch how this whole thing pans out, and like whether or not because I tell you right now, Yahoo, we posted this. Yahoo put out an article about leftists, all these prominent leftists and Marxists who were like losing tens of thousands of followers overnight, and they were all what they say it is that Twitter is now cleaning up the bots, because and this is the next intriguing point about this that I wanted to talk about, was now that he's coming in, now that Elon Musk is coming into play, he's going to give us a look into really behind the scenes look at these algorithms, at concepts like shadow banning and things like that. Like, now I'm hoping, Musk is a pretty eccentric character. So there's no part of me like where I still am a little weary of where he's coming from. He is an eccentric character, and he does seem to be on the up and up. Like, and he does have more money than any human being on earth. So, to do something like this is interesting, right? But he's cleaning up. They're saying they're cleaning up all these bots, and like this one gun. She was a gun advocate, like against guns, and she lost like 10,000 followers overnight. And there was another, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez lost thousands in a night. Like a bunch of them did. And then they're like, well, while the conservatives at the same time are gaining all kinds of followers. And I think the reason the conservatives are gaining them is because, well, number one, they wouldn't bot up a conservative's account to start with. So the net is going to be better anyway. But then number two, I think a lot of conservatives were like us, were like, well, let me get on Twitter. Right. Let me get on Twitter, and because now it's free. So, now it's free speech. Now I want to get on. And then when they get on and they create an account, what does it do? It shows you all these conservative people. You got to follow somebody, right? So they're probably clicking on people that they want to follow. And, the net result of all these people joining on, where it was that these conservatives got a larger following. So, like, I think that's just the initial wave of what you're going to see with respect to Twitter. Despite all the screams that I'm leaving, it's another I'm moving to Canada cry. No one's jumping out. These people have spent years trying to build a base on there. They're not just walking away from the platform because it's free speech now. So, like, and then yeah, so you think he's bizarre, but his intentions are good. That's kind of how I take him, is that he's bizarre, but his intentions are good, So, and then Ruben says, bots. Yeah. And that's what we're saying, right? That they cleaned up all those bots because they're trying to get, my take on it is they're trying to clean this up as much as possible before it gets to a point where, it's still as messy as it is now. and Musk walks in and goes, "What the hell is this?" And then starts tweeting in real time about everything he's finding. Right. So I think I think he officially takes over in the fall, but like clearly they're opening it up now. Like clearly they're. I mean, the pillow guy got his Lindell got his account back. It won't be long before James O'Keefe gets his account back, and they're already talking about Trump getting his. So all these people who've been banned for, like O'Keefe was another one who was just censored. He said not like O'Keefe is 100% fact. The dude just shows freaking videos. He just shows undercover video for Project Veritas, and that's it. That's it. It's kind of like libs at TikTok, right? If you've heard about libs at TikTok, where they just kind of find these teachers, these woke teachers who are doing the TikToks themselves. They're not like it's not like libs at TikTok are editing them or anything. They're just finding them and putting them out there because and letting these people realize what the real world thinks of these tweets because they're putting this out to their friends in their little tight knit brainwashed social circles. But when the mainstream gets hold of it, just like the school curriculums, right? Same thing. When the mainstream gets hold of it, they kept that hidden for decades. But like once 2020 came and now parents were getting a window into what was going on in the schools, poof, next thing we got a threefold turnaround in the in the turnover of recalls of boards of education. So like it's pretty crazy. The Babylon Bee, yeah, the Babylon Bee was good point, Ruben. The Babylon Bee was thrown off as well. And this is a satire website, right? So like what are they doing? Like what's going on? Like it's crazy the type of censorship, but I'm fascinated to see what happens now. Like what happens when Elon first walks in the doors. Like I don't know what the timeline of all this is. Like I've heard all the paperwork and everything else is going to take months and that the whole thing should be finalized in the fall. But does that mean that Elon Musk cannot walk in the door now? Like, does that mean he can't just go in there and start checking stuff out now? Part of what they put into his contract was that he can't talk negative about about Twitter while the negotiations are going on. So I'm guessing you're not going to hear too much from him because if he violates it, they can take $1 billion from him and call the whole deal off. So I'm pretty sure you're not going to hear too much from him negative about Twitter in the coming months until he finally takes it over. But in the end, like I'm wondering if he's walking through there now and saying, "Holy crap, I can't believe," with his computer guys like taking looks at these algorithms and whatnot. Like this could just be the very beginning of something absolute of a story that's just absolutely blockbuster. Because if that happens, right, if he goes in there and he starts looking and finds like, you know, keys, like if he finds that all these people that lost these followers overnight in the last few days, all these leftists, if he finds that Twitter created those bots to amp up those people to make it look like they have bigger followings than they do, because that's what I think happened. I've always look. One thing I always said about Twitter, I mentioned this in our very early shows after doing some research on it, and there wasn't a lot of current stuff, but the stuff back in like 2010, 11 was like, they were doing an analysis of how many people are actually on Twitter because what they tell you is BS. Like they count the bots, they count all the fake stuff, they count all of that. And then when you take that total and you break it down to how many people are actually using it for political, speech and things like that, it's another different show there. So yeah, we got Brenda Edwards. Look, Brenda, I got the chat box back. So she says, I was so happy when I heard that Elon Musk is for free speech. The Lord bless him. Amen. VOG, BCE, Kentucky in the house again. So yeah, and I was too. I was happy when I heard that he wanted to buy it because it's just such a it, I feel like he does stuff that I would do if I had that kind of money. Like I feel like he was just sitting down one day tweeting, and for me it might have been Facebook or MeWe or something like that. But he's a Twitter guy, so he's probably sitting there tweeting, and he's like, you know, this is really annoying. I can't believe they threw off Trump. And then somebody tweets at him, "You should buy them." And he just should buy them. And then poof, like he just goes and buys them. It's just majestic. And for the window inside, in behind the curtain of Twitter is what I'm absolutely waiting for. That's my show. That's and I'm on there now. I see there's some more people that have jumped on. So on the different platforms, I can't tell which one's which until you comment. But I will say, to go and follow us on Twitter. There's a new cool kid on the block in the Twitterverse. It's at Patriot Think Tank, not at the Patriot Think Tank. But we have one of our tweets posted to our Facebook page as well. So you can check it out there. That was our first tweet ever of us just checking out the scenery. And it says, yeah, exactly, right? Expose the crazy libs. That's what I'm talking about. Like the crazy ones, right? Like the Gustapos, right? And again, I see the world in terms of Marxists and Americans, right? I don't see it as like conservative liberal or left right. Like to me, there's Marxists and there's Americans. That's it. You're one or the other. If you're an American, you're okay in my book. If you're a Marxist, you gots to go. Or at least your philosophy gots to go. Because I ain't down with any of that. Now, you can go ahead and preach it as much as you want, but I'll be there at every turn to make sure that I shut it down, because that is just nonsense. So, but yeah, so now he's got it. And again, back to the Trump situation. So like what happens? Does Trump take it back? Like because Elon Musk was such an advocate that Trump should get his spot back? Like I don't know how this plays out. It's because now True Social, if Trump goes on Twitter, I mean, I guess he could do both. I guess he can, but now is this going to take away from other people who were like, I know Trump supporters are going to sign up for True Social regardless. But the question, I guess, then becomes, when it's all said and done, are they tweeting or are they whatever you call posting to True Social would be? And that's the question. So so Jacqueline says she doesn't think he will. I hope he does too. I think he will. And here's Murnam. I'm still on suspension from January 21st. Can't get back on. Are you sure? There might be a process, because I know Mike Lindell is back on. So I saw him give a post, and he was banished until the earth dissolved. So I have to think that there's some sort of process to get your account back. I don't know. I mean, maybe it depends on what. I don't know. You can't be a bigger enemy to them than Mike Lindell. He was like the devil to them. He was on there talking about all that, all the election fraud and everything else. So like they hated him. So I can't imagine, that there's no process, but maybe it's just going to take a little while for things to catch up. That could be it too. But when they let you back on, Mern, make sure you follow at Patriot Think Tank. There's no the in it. It's just at Patriot Think Tank. I'm not cool enough to have to get a blue check mark. So be careful if someone tries to troll us, because that could very well happen and start saying all kinds of crazy stuff in our name. But that's what it is. There's no the. It's just at Patriot Think Tank. But yeah, so Musk owns them. It sounds like conservatives are moving over there, right? It sounds like conservatives are making a move towards Twitter now. So, and I think, I don't know that it's just conservatives, right? It's probably, I mean, I'm sure there are some like old school liberals and Kennedy Democrats and whatnot, like non-Marxists. It's just really, like I said, it's just Marxists and Americans, right? So like these non-Marxists who lean left, on like traditional left, they probably called out some Marxism every now and then and got banned as well, or shadow banned or whatever else. So I'm sure they have some of their stories to go as well. Yeah. says I could use a mean tweet. Yeah, mean tweet and $2 gasoline, right? For sure. It is amazing how fast the world went to hell. I mean, it's stunning to me how fast the world went to hell under this regime. I mean, it's because whoever's running it, like it's not Biden clearly. So whoever's actually calling the shots, like I have a feeling this is just one of those. This is a window into what would happen if the real radical coconuts, would have been able to take over in all these past years. Because I think that's what's happening now. I think like the real loon bins, like the real upside down Marxist coconuts, are running the show right now. They got the reins, and hence the transgender people, and what is it, the health secretary, and they pick a fat guy for the health secretary. The guy looks unhealthy as hell, and he's our health secretary, and like at all these positions that they fulfilled, like they've put people into these positions for like political reasons and not for reasons of merit. And they give people like Bishop Garrison, leeway to go ahead and haze our military members and go through all their Facebook and stuff and all their social media, and then try and dox them and get rid of them. Like they give the wrong people authority, and this is what happens. And then you got the jackal, the heckling, Kamala Harris. It's almost like she's there. At first everyone figured, well, he picked her because she's black and she's a woman, like duh. But then it's like, wait a minute, maybe this was like the same kind of play with like why they picked Biden to be Obama's VP. Like it's kind of like insurance, right? Like no one's going to try and put a hit on the president if that guy is going to be the next one, right? The same thing with Biden, right? Like no one's going to try and put a hit on Biden if Kamala's taking over, right? It like makes him impeachable, unimpeachable. Everyone's just like, let's impeach him. No, hold on. We got Kamala, and then we got Nancy Pelosi. So maybe we just wait a little bit. Let's try and get this done in 2024. Right? So, but like that's truth, right? That's truth. This is by far the worst. I mean, Jimmy Carter always held that crown for me, no matter what. No matter what, Jimmy Carter always held the crown for worst president in my lifetime. But like, yeah, this definitely, this is a hold my beer moment to Jimmy Carter. Like this is, and it's getting worse, right? It's getting worse. The border's collapsing. The world is on fire. There's not I feel like there's not a meaningful country on earth right now that's not in some kind of crisis, right? In some kind of crisis. I mean, the horrific Corona protocols, they single-handedly destroyed the economy, so that they can bring it back, of course, right? Because that's so they can save us, from this. But they join in with these Davos people and these. I'm so disgusted. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of talking about this presidency because it really does sicken me. And it's like I didn't like Obama. Obviously I'm a pretty traditional guy. I'm conservative for the most part, and like, but I didn't like dislike Obama the way like this guy. Like I didn't like Clinton. Wasn't a huge fan. But in the end, not like this is so next level. This is so next level. So Ruben says, but the economy is down 1.9%. Yeah, it's honestly, Ruben, the way I look at the economy is different than most people. Like to me, the debt clock's either moving forward or backward, and it's never moved backward. So I give zero presidents credit for economy ever. I mean, that's where my head is now. It's like you're either, and this is why Article 5 is such a big deal. Because if we don't pass a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, it'll never happen. They'll never stop. Right now, Biden just, with inflation at 10%, Biden just gets up on a podium today and asks for, or today or yesterday, asked for $33 billion for Ukraine. For Ukraine. A crisis that they freaking encouraged. And now it's destroying our food supply. We got inflation of freaking 10%. It's just killing the American people over this ridiculous crisis that could have been avoided by NATO just saying, no, Ukraine, you can't be a part of NATO. Oh, really? Cool. Back up the tanks, everybody out, we're good. No. Let's send Kamala Harris down there to reinforce the idea and really amp this thing up. It's 33 billion on top of the fact that we have 10, like it's clear that they could care less. They're not even looking at it. They're not even looking at it. It's just ridiculous to me that they're not even paying attention to it. And it's like, how high can inflation get, right? This ridiculous, absurd modern monetary theory that they've been preaching for the last 45 years or so, well, maybe more than that now, right? Geez, I forget where we're at, what year. Yeah, it's about 45 years, right? So, just after we got off the gold standard, they started preaching this garbage that you can just spend as much as you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's it. Everybody believes it. Like everyone was gaslit on this friggin' modern monetary theory, and you've got PhDs who taught PhDs who taught PhDs who believe in this now. Like this is how far down we've come. This is how far we've fallen to common sense, right? We say debt doesn't matter. Men can, like, to me, that's in the men get pregnant category. Like the same way you got to look at someone who tries to convince you that a man can get pregnant is the way that you should be looking at these dutarus who try to tell you that that modern monetary theory works. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Period. And we're seeing it. We're watching it all collapse, and they're all pretending that it's not collapsing. They're all pretending that it's not the case. And now they're all flipping out because they're losing their control over the friggin' over speech, right? I mean, that intro video we did when we first talked about this was like, where we kind of made fun at the end, like, Elon Musk is not suicidal. I do worry for Elon Musk, though. I will say that, right? But we had the newscaster in that video. I forget her name now; it escapes me. But if you haven't seen it, go check out that video. It was right at the intro. It's like music playing in the background, but you'll hear the clip of her in there saying he wants to control the way people think. That's our job. Like, she says it right there on the air. Like, it's just crazy, and now they're all freaked out because the truth, one thing that they can't argue against is the truth because they never have it on their side. They never have it on their side. Ruben says ABC. Ruben, is that where she was from? Is that the channel she was from? Because I found her while I was just looking for reactions to the I was looking for leftist reactions to the buyout, and I just came across that and like fell out of my chair. I was just like, oh my god! And sure enough, like, she just said it straight out. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. And so, but yeah, she just said that's our job. He can't free Twitter because like what she's saying and what they're all afraid of is that like things like, yeah, like no more. Now that there's going to be the inner workings of one of these organizations is going to be unraveled. And what's interesting to me is, I don't know, for those who have been with us for a really long time, well, we've been around for a year, so let's keep it in perspective, right? But towards the very beginning, we did a piece on Dr. Shiva, and if you're not familiar with Dr. Shiva, he invented email, four degrees from MIT. Guy's a beast, right? And he was suing Boston. I don't know if it was Boston or if it was the whole state of I think it was the whole state of Massachusetts, um, over election tampering and election violations and collusion with Twitter. And no one would, just like when Giuliani was trying to find people to work with him on election fraud stuff, nobody would work with him. So he said, you know what? I got 4 degrees from MIT. I invented email. I'm a boss man. I'm just going to represent myself and teach myself how to be an attorney. And I can tell you, I read the entire freaking transcript from the court, and the judge was absolutely digging this dude. Absolutely digging him. His name is Dr. Shiva. If you don't know, it's Shiva, and I don't know if you'll find the speech he gave about that. If you pull up that video from us back in the day, I would go to YouTube. It'd probably be safer, or maybe on our website under episodes, you might find it under there, because originally we had put out 15 or 16 episodes that were like 1.5 hours long, and we did them like once a week. Like, that's kind of how we started. It might be in there. but it's an intriguing case. And I even put the court transcripts. If you go to the website and watch it there, I put the court transcripts in there so you can actually read it. And the judge was all about it. He called Twitter in. Twitter had to appear. He was beating them up. It was freaking phenomenal. It was like reading an awesome novel. That's what it was like. It was outstanding. All right, so we got Mern saying no, Trump won't come back. So, so did you hear him say that? Did you hear him say he won't come back to Twitter? I mean, I don't care if he does or not. Like, I'll get over it. Like, I never was on Twitter when he was on there anyway, because I just if he tweets something, they're gonna tell me, like, it's gonna be on the news. It's like, I don't need to follow him. The people will come to me with the information. But because we're gonna go on Truth Social if it ever gets finished. But like, I think Truth Social, to me, I think in the end, even though it's a Trump thing, I think it's going to be all in the end. It's going to be all Trump supporters, which I am. So I'll be on there. But like, my concern about it was always the same concern: is that it's going to end up being an echo chamber. Whereas freeing Twitter is a different animal. Like without Twitter being free, True Social would have a better place, I think, in the market than it does now. I think this changes things negatively for True Social. It's just my guess. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? But yeah. So, and Shelly, you said I heard him say it over again. Is that Trump that said he's not going to go on on Twitter? That he's over it? I'm not sure. All right, I'm not sure, but yeah, how you doing, Sheila? Sorry, nice to see you on. I just like, I don't think this ends well for Truth Social. I guess that's just my take on it. So I could be wrong. No one says, I'll be on it. I'll be on it. Yeah, Sheila says yes. So yeah. So all right. So if he said he's not going on, he's not going on. I'm on already. I'm tweeting up a storm. I'm having a blast over there. I'm following. I'm going to people's stuff. I'm commenting. I'm leaving. I'm blasting people. Just dropping fact bombs on people. I'm just having a good old time over there. I'm working on it like like there's no moderator anywhere, right? I mean, nothing illegal, right? But just dropping all that stuff that if you say it on YouTube, the kind of stuff that got us suspended from YouTube twice. That's the kind of stuff I'm tweeting right now. Well, not yet, but I will be. I'm just popping off, replying to people's stuff, getting active, trying to get into it, because I just think it's cool. I think it's cool that there's a free speech platform, and I'm tired of everyone trying to make excuses for social media companies that, like, they don't have to. Well, they don't have to be free speech. No, they should want to, right? They should want to. Like, if this all worked out the way it was supposed to, Section 203 or 230, is it 203 or 230? Anyway, it's a section that these media giants were protected under that allowed them to do some moderation without being considered a publisher and having to work under the regulations of that. And the reason that was created, by the way, because now Biden and Psaki have openly started talking about this section to try and like throw at Musk now. Like, they're going to say, oh, well, now we're going to get rid of section. Is it 230 or 203? I think it's 230. Section 230, where it was designed so that they could moderate things like porn and people aren't putting snuff films, posting up, where they kill somebody and stuff like that kind of stuff, which I think every rational person can find acceptable. And that was really the spirit of why that was enacted. But then it became weaponized, and it became weaponized politically. And, that bit of moderation stretched into this bit of moderation. And now they're talking about trying to get it removed. And there are actually Republicans who are on board with it. And I'm looking at them like, what's wrong with it? Like, if you got rid of that totally, it would be like, everyone would be Gestapo. Like, people would be getting sued. It protected the platform. So, for example, you can't, if someone goes on Facebook and says something horrific, and that someone else spins off, they don't give an order to anybody, but they just say something horrific on a live broadcast or something like that, and then someone goes and acts on it, the victim would be able to sue Facebook. Like if that was the case, everybody would be silenced, because Facebook wouldn't let anybody speak, because it wouldn't even exist. It would be over. So you do need to have it there. but the thing is, it should be there, but it should just be rewritten with detail to say, look, this is what the spirit of it was, because everybody understood when it was written what that was. There, no porn, no, no death, no faces of death episodes, right? Stuff like that. Like, we're not trying to freak people out here, and we're not, kids can get access to this stuff, so we don't need all that garbage on there, right? But at the same time, as far as political speech, that should be wide the hell open. I don't care. I don't care if you go on and start advocating for the psychopaths of history. I mean, I'm in my child's classroom, right? They advocate for psychos of history in my child's classroom. Here's the picture that they put in my child's classroom. Here it is. These dirt bags. Look at that. You got people responsible right there for more death than anyone in the modern era. You got Mao, you got Lenin, you got the whole five of them. Fidel Castro, Stalin, right? Marx is on the floor doing a windmill. Like this is how these guys are living. And it's like, that's no way to live. That's no way to live. And to see that in your kid's classroom, if they can put that in my kid's classroom, then someone can talk whatever they want as far as political speech. I don't care. You want to get up and preach Marxism, knock it out. I'll just shoot you down verbally. I'll just beat the hell out of you with facts right over the head. Right over the head. That's it. You'll walk out with a "We the People" branded in your forehead, all dizzy, coming out, shirt all torn. But I'm saying it's a good thing. All in all, it's a good thing. I think what Musk is doing is great. I think what Musk is doing is great. And then Mern says, "Nice shirt, a cool shirt." Thank you, Mern. This shirt actually strikes up conversations all over the place. So, like, it's available in our Etsy store. By the way, just saying, never miss an opportunity for a cheap plug. But at the same time, this shirt, people will stop me and be like, and funnily, like wittily ask me, like, well, how do I save Americans? and I'll like come back at them the same way with a slight humor, and then open up a conversation, and then that's how it works, right? That's how it goes. So now I got someone else who's open minded and listening to Article 5. So and really, I'm going to be blasting Article 5 all over Twitter now. The Twitterverse is going to get, I mean, I don't know how active Cause Action has been on Twitter, because I wasn't on Twitter. But now that I'm on there, like I might even make a personal account and go nuts with that. I'm gonna be on there just tweeting away. I'm gonna tweet circles around you. Oh gosh. She says, I could do wonders with $200,000. How can the American people get a cut of the cash cow? Yeah, we don't get a cut of the cash cow. We can, right? If we pass the balanced budget amendment, all of our money will become worth more. So that's a start. And of course, the tax structure would be significantly changed if all went well. So that would also be an amazing thing. so so Sheila said they don't do Twitter. You should be doing them now, though. You should be doing them now. They Cause Action should be putting up a site right. They'd be getting an account going right now. Mark Meckler should be typing as we speak. That's it. They're the bastion now. They're going to be the staple, the example for all to see. The shining social media outlet on a hill. That's what I'm hoping it turns out to, anyway. Yes, I did just say doo-doo. I call people doo-doos. It's a nice way to, when you're in a place where you can't go cursing to people and can't go calling people names. There was a lot of older folks, old Italian folks back in the day in Queens. They used to use that term to describe people that were. So yeah, you'll actually hear me say that from time to time. I actually use the term doo-doo a lot. My mom's friend actually asked me that same question. He's like, "I'm from the Bronx. I didn't remember hearing him say doo-doo." I'm like, "What do you want me to tell you?" Now you heard it. Oh God. So Sheila, you said, did I read your last comment that you don't do Twitter? I think I'm getting a little delay here from I think Facebook puts a latency in, like a mandatory latency, so that I guess in case I say something crazy, I have time to I have time to take it back. Okay. Jacqueline, thank you for validating me. It is a thing. Jacqueline says my grandma says that. That's right. Doop is a thing. Yeah, I've been calling people doop for a really long time. So it's, but I get people telling me, I don't, that's not a New York thing. I lived in New York. I'm like, no, it's a New York thing. No, it's not. I'm like, it is. I'm telling you. And I got Jacqueline validating me that doo is a thing. So Alex, if you're out there, there it is. Someone else heard of it. Starting to make me act like I was befriending Snuffleupagus or something. Tell everybody he's there, but they'll say he ain't there. So Shirley said about Vanguard. Oh no, I didn't see that comment. Let me see. Oh, that's where the $200,000. Okay, I see. So because BlackRock and Vanguard, here it is. All right, because BlackRock and Vanguard most shares, so essentially these elites were happy to take this billionaire's money. Yeah, no, they weren't happy to take his money though. They were not. This was a very awkward situation that Elon Musk put Twitter in, because he offered more money than the stock was worth, and by doing that, he put the board in a situation where they had a fiduciary duty to the shareholders to take the money, because they're buying them out at more than what it's worth, and it was moving down at the time. It was on a downward spin at the time. Now it started moving up once he made a bid, but it's not something that like trust me, if BlackRock and Vanguard could still have their share, they would take it back in a second. They'd give him his money back in a second. That's for sure. Like, understand, BlackRock and Vanguard own everything, right? So when you're in a position where you own everything, if there's something big that you no longer own, like, to them, it's not even about the money. They've got so much money. They're hand in hand with the Fed. They're tied into central banks. Like, BlackRock and Vanguard are not worried about cash. They're worried about control. They're worried about power, and they just lost some. Okay, they just lost some. So in that sense, I get what you're saying, but like in the end, yeah, they're not happy. The evil folks, the elites, are incredibly upset that this happened. You watched them all melt down. You watched them all. Ruben said Snuffleupagus is real now. Man, what the hell? Is nothing sacred? Unbelievable. Well, all right. So if Snuffleupagus is real, yeah, and and I just made a Snuffleupagus reference, and that got a bunch of. Here we go with Diana Sunshine Wolf. She said, "I want my Twitter back." Yeah, I'll throw the curse word up there. What the hell? So Diana, does that mean your account, or do you want your Twitter back, like, free from Elon Musk? So I'm not sure which. I'm guessing that means your account. Knowing you and the nature of the comment that you just put up, I'm going to say that comment was directed at getting your account back. Well, they gave oh my God, no, hold on. Snuffleupagus is pregnant. What? Isn't Snuffleupagus a dude? Right? Like, what is going on? What is going on with this man? I honestly feel like I feel like now the Marxists have just gotten to a point where they've run out of dumb stuff to pump into these kids' heads. So they started making up this stuff. And like, these elites are sitting in a room somewhere just cracking up. Probably just sitting there watching YouTube videos of Gen Z people. Oh, okay. Ruben, Ruben says he's just kidding. Ruben, you can't do that to me, because you know what? That's totally believable. Like, that's what's disturbing, is that's totally believable, dude. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, Snuffleupagus is pregnant? Oh my God. But it's true though, with this, they're just being gaslit now. Like there's someone in a room somewhere, like just having fun with this. Yeah, let's tell them men can get pregnant. And like 6 months later, there's like, arguments on YouTube. Are you a biologist? Oh my God. Oh my God. And like, and I said, I gave my theory, I think, on why that is, why they do that, because it's so absurd. It's so absurd, but I think the reason they do it, if you check out the episode we did on mass formation psychosis, where, like everyone, it's kind of like I mean, there are certain conditions that need to be met and like whatever, but like it's kind of the same thing that like Yuri Bezmenov and the Russians were doing, and like the way all these generations kind of got their heads twisted, But like one of the key points of it is that like once it takes hold, it doesn't matter how irrational, like how bizarre the request is, or the order is, or the the belief is, that they will still believe it, that they will still hang on to it and believe it and argue for it. And go. So I almost feel like there's an element of test here. I like there's an element of them just kind of stirring the water to see, how well everything's worked out over the last, 15, 20 years. I think they've been at this for a lot longer, but I think it really started to sink in to the point where they can start trolling these generations and they just believe anything. And like, it's a crazy world we live in, but like, yeah, like the vaccine. Yeah, exactly. Like even if it doesn't work for them, like I had it, I brought it home, gave it to my whole family. My wife's the only vaccinated person in my family. She got it worse than everybody else. So clearly, when you see that happen, you're like, all right, well, clearly the vaccine is not a big deal. She was out for 4 days. I was out for one, right? And I'm positive we got it the first round too, just before it was a thing. We got it in like February, but after I got it the second time, I'm like, yep, that's what it was the first time. And like, and now that I've had it twice, like number one, I'm unimpressed. You know, but it can. The first day was pretty brutal. Actually, the first day was pretty impressive by virus standards. But then the second day, I was fine. But I was fine, and I would have been out tweeting about it, but it wasn't free. So, so one thing that Elon wants to do with Twitter is charge. So, like, what do you guys think about that? I'm curious because uh, I keep hearing, and I've heard it from him that he's not, he is considering about paying, and making people pay. And honestly, I thought about it, and I'm like, I would probably pay. I mean, depending on what it costs, but like, I'm assuming it's going to be, $5, $4 a month, something like that. But like, if paying that fee, if you had to pay $5 for Facebook a month, but the deal was you pay the $5 and they don't touch any of your information, they don't have any, they're not collecting, they're not trying to get paid off of you because you're paying them $5 a month. So if that was the deal, is that worth $5? Or do you not trust that they would even do that and just not pay them? But like, but if let's assume you could trust them, you know let's assume you could trust the company to not collect your data for whatever reason. Like, is it worth, I guess the real question is it, are you willing to sell all your information and everything to a company for $5 a month? That's probably a better way to look at it. Are you willing to sell your location wherever you go? Are you willing to sell, your personal data, your habits, what you like to do, what you're looking to do, what you want to do in the future? Are you willing to, is all of that worth $5 a month to not have somebody track all of that? Like, to me, it is. I think I would probably pay. If there was an alternative that offered it that way, I would probably pay. That, as long as the alternative was just as good. So I already pay for internet access. Twitter should pay me. Yeah, no, that it ain't gonna work that way. Twitter's not internet access, so that's like saying I pay for cable, my internet should be free. I pay for TV, my internet should be free. I mean, they're two totally different things. I mean, one's just a media platform, a town square, if you will, and the other is your access to everything, right? So, but I, to me, I just feel like for $5, I would pay. And now if they wanted 15, $20, I'd probably just get off social media and move on. In that sense, I almost wish they would charge $15 so that everybody would just do that. But I had a feeling people are just so used to getting everything on the internet for free that that there would initially be a big, we've forgotten what it's like to pay for stuff, right? How many of you scroll through Amazon or Roku or whatever you're using if you're using the streaming service and like you search for your movie, you find it, and it's like available for rent, $3.99, and you're like, oh, no way. I'm not paying $3.99. And then we like forget that we used to get up, get in the car, drive to a place where we had to walk around, search for stuff, find things. Then we find it, and then we go and we rent it for more than $3.99, and then we have to get it back within 2 days. So there's a race now, and you got to live with that wait to get it back to Blockbuster, so you don't get charged even more than the $4 they charged you for the video in the first place. And now we're at a place where the video is right in front of you. You don't have to go anywhere. You can scroll through instead of walking through the aisles. You pick it, and it's $1 cheaper with an automatic return. And we say, hell no. I just find that hilarious. Like we've just become so desensitized to things on the internet being free. It's our fault that they know everything about us. It's our, like, we talk about Google being so creepy. We talk about, Facebook and Twitter and all. Oh, they know everything about you, and they do. Don't get it twisted. Google knows more about you than you do. Google knows stuff that you haven't even thought you know yet. You haven't even thought you want yet. They know you're going to want it. That's how crazy the algorithm is. Okay, so it's not it's listening to you. It's following you. It's making calculations. It's making it knows everything about you. And the reason that it knows everything about you is because we have been conditioned to insist that every service that costs someone else money to create should be free if it's online. And so the internet responded and said, okay, if you don't want to pay us for the product, then you will be the product. And we agreed. We said, yes, that's okay. Now, admittedly, in the beginning, we didn't understand it. But like in the end, once we did understand it, we didn't care. Oh, my goodness. So Diana's on fire here. So she's leaving. So I'm going to back up to some of the comments here. Vaccine side effects include death. No, thank you. They do include death, depending, but it's not. So this is how I know my mom's not watching the show, because she just called me. So, all right. Let me see some more comments here. Let's just dig into some of what we got. There you go. So the NSA has collected all your data since 9/11, Pegasus. Yeah, the NSA is a whole different beast, right? They're a different beast altogether, because they don't even provide you a service. They just bend you over, right? So they're different animals. So, but again, Article 5 will tackle that beast too, right? Because the people that run these deep state agencies have been there forever and are not beholden to anyone, not the president, not anyone. Like they supersede presidents, because in the end, presidents are looked at as, well, we can't tell them this information because they might be out of office in 2 years, and then we don't know what, then it'll be insecure. Like they've come up with all these excuses under the guise of plausible deniability to exist forever with this power. So term limiting those folks is absolutely long overdue. Absolutely long overdue. So, wow, Diane's like filled up this. All right, let me see. All right, so she paid me, FTC. Here we go. So the FTC and internet providers already sell our data. Yes, they do to a degree, but in the end, you can opt out of that as well. So it's important that everyone understands that stuff, right? Like if you have issues, they sell metadata, which is like, you know, it's different than what they don't know you on the level that those who are providing services know you. They see it in a terms of they group you in with a category, and this many, this many men go to this site and this many women go to that site. Google knows you. Like, they know what sandwich you ate yesterday. They know, they know what sandwich you want to eat tomorrow, and next Tuesday they know that you're really going to be craving some of grandma's stew. Like, they know everything, these freaking people. Like that, like what Google knows about you is on a whole nother level than what even the NSA. Like, even the NSA doesn't know as much about you as an individual as Google does. Don't get that twisted. Google's with you every minute, every hour, every day. They're with you. And if you have an Android phone, as 88% of the world's population does, then in the end, I mean, Apple's got like a 13% market share or something. Almost all of that is in the United States and in European countries. But but in the end, Google knows everything. All right. To the point where it's beyond creepy. All right. And Elon Musk had made it a point saying it was the one company that creeped him out was Google. So sorry, but everyone's comments are blowing up my phone right now, so I gotta turn that down. All right, but yeah, so like let it be known, like Google is the creepiest thing ever. Says Google wishes it knew me. They think I own a business and want to sell me advertising. Yeah, yeah. If you don't own a business, the algorithm may be trying to give you stuff about a business and whatnot. But trust me, I mean, look, maybe you're using a flip phone and maybe you never go online. I mean, I don't know you personally. So maybe you use a flip phone, maybe you go online, maybe, you live in a really rural area and you're on the internet now. But I mean, clearly you're on YouTube. So, with that being said, I don't know. But in the end, if you're using Google services, Google knows you. All right, they know you. So there's no, and almost everybody is, right. So I mean, 90% of my searches are done in DuckDuckGo, but my phone is Google, so it's irrelevant. Like they still know. There's just no way around it. So here, who said? All right, yeah. So you don't own a smartphone? Okay, that helps. That helps. So depending on what you do, I have to for work. Like I have to. I have tablets. I have smartphones. I need it all. But but in the end, you're right. And you said in there, Google knows what you feed it. Yeah, Google knows what you feed it. That's correct. But they also, for like I said, look, I guess there are a handful of people who live off the grid, and there are a few Grizzly Adam folks out there who are doing their thing, and I don't want to, I don't want to. I admire that. I admire it. I just can't live that way. Like, I just can't live that way. So I mean, in my case, I go ahead and I'll use DuckDuckGo for my search engines. I'll use VPNs. I'll do things like that. In the end, I'm living a normal life. Smartphones have become, the way we do things. I don't mind the smartphone. I mind all the craziness that goes about it. If I want, I can lock my smartphone down in all kinds of ways. I mean, I can not use Google. I can shut off all of those features that we talk about, which track you and do this and that. You can shut them all off, but I use my GPS. Right. So like I shut off my GPS. I did that once. I shut off everything, and I went in no location. No apps can have access to my location. And I kind of went on that kick, and I was just like, all right, fine. Yeah, that's where I'm at now. And then I wanted to know where something was, or I needed to navigate somewhere. Well, now I'm driving. Now I have to grab my phone, go into settings, turn location back. And I did it enough that it became annoying to me, to the point where I'm like, you know what? I need to keep this on. Like, I need to keep location on. So that was a decision I made. It is what it is. You could do what you got to do, but that's just where my head was at. So, but anyway, as far I'm glad that we got the feedback that we did. We're kind of going off topic. I was into, I was just really intrigued by the Elon Musk buy. I just thought, all the intangibles that come with it, like as far as Donald Trump, does he go? Does he not go? And what does this mean? Even if he doesn't go, what does that mean for Truth Social? And like, because Truth Social is going to have all conservatives on it, right? It's going to be like Parler. I mean, essentially, that's what it's going to be. If you ever made that move to Parler, like that's what it's going to be. So and some people like that, right? Some people were into Parler, like they really dig it. I just was one person who was kind of like I was not into the whole Twitter format anyway. So when I first went on Parler, I was just like, I mean, we still have an account there. I don't really, I've never really, it's kind of sat in limbo the way Twitter always did. But now that Twitter is on the free speech piece, and there are a lot of people on there, it is our duty to be on there for sure. And I will be tweeting, and we will be putting stuff up, and I'm kind of excited about it. Like I said, I want to see it all pan out. I want to see it happen. I want to see Musk pull the curtain back and tell us what's going on behind that curtain. That's what I want to see. That's what intrigues me, right? When I see all these leftists, when I see Yahoo reporting all these so-called influencing leftists losing tens of thousands of followers overnight, and we all know it's because they were eliminating, Twitter's cleaning it up now. They know there's a boss now. There's a boss. And there's a boss who's going to walk in the building, and there's not going to be a board that he has to answer to. There's not going to be public pressure that he has to succumb to. There's not going to be any of that garbage. There's just going to be right and wrong. That's it. And I think everybody knows in their heart of hearts, when Musk walks in there, he's going to find a lot more wrong than right. And that's what I want to see, because that's going to open the door. It doesn't just pull the curtain back on Twitter. It pulls the curtain back on all of them, because we all know what they've been doing, right? They're doing it to me right now. Ever since we changed our topic line, which we've done this a few times, changed our topic line. But when we moved it to the Great Reset and started really trying to educate people about the Great Reset, the impact was immediate. Like the first video we put out was our teaser video, and it went nuts. It went nuts. For us, it went nuts, right? Like not by like Dan Bongino standards, but like for our channel, it went nuts. It was getting 50, 60,000 views. Like it was being shared like 1,000 times, 2,000. Like it was just going nuts. For us, that's a big deal. And so, we knew as soon as we did it that we were onto something. We already had it planned to continue to do episodes on it, because there's so much to unpack with the Great Reset that, first of all, you got to get over the hump of convincing people that it's real, that it's not it's not some conspiracy theory, that they're actually talking about it in the open. And so once you get past that, then you got to start explaining it and how it works, and at ESGs, and modern monetary theory, and digital IDs, and all this, so we knew we were going to be on it for a while. And as soon as that video went nuts, the next two videos did well, but then all of a sudden, everything stopped. We did one every day for like 4 days, and at one point they all caught up with each other, because the first like hour or two they would get like 1,200 views, 1,300, and then they stopped there. All four of them at one point were together at 1,200 views, and then 2 days went by, and then they started to gain views again. So it's like they just stop it before it takes off, wait 2 days, and then let it go again, and don't distribute it. Just leave it in the ether at that point. Because now it's dead. Now you've killed the momentum. And then since then, it's been the same thing. Like I can show you all those posts. They give you a distribution score, and it used to be, every once in a while you'd get a video that didn't have a high distribution score or slightly negative, but every one is negative ever since the Great Reset. All of them. The only ones that do well in the distribution score are the live events, which is why I started doing more live events, because the live events, I have you guys commenting and you guys giving feedback and such. So it builds the distribution score when that happens. If I get 40 or 50 comments on, then that helps people to get it out. But I appreciate everyone who shares our content. I see that as well. that comes up that, X, Y, and Z shared your content. So I appreciate that as well. That does help for sure. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, I'm going to ask you personally to subscribe to it. The reason being, they also have been kind of dogging us since this happened, but we're so close to that thousand mark, that which was our goal. And I want to, I just want to hit it for the threshold's sake. I don't care. We're not probably not going to monetize at that point anyway, because the first half of the year, our view time was not that great. And our followers were not that great for the first half. But then the second half, we did very well. People catching on. We were figuring out what we were doing. We're at 869 right now, and I would really like to get that to 1,000. So if like-minded people that would enjoy the content, only like-minded people that would enjoy the content. We're not trying to get fakes here, right? I'm not trying to do sub for sub and all that nonsense. I'd rather do it slow and do it right and have everybody on there like-minded who are prepared to crowdsource information with us, or even just have fun and talk about a topic like Musk taking over Twitter and whatnot, right? So, but there's tons of great educational material on Article 5. Diana, Mern, Sheila, Barbara, I appreciate you guys. Jacqueline, I appreciate you guys. Ruben, speaking out and just, engaging in the conversation. Without you guys, I'm just standing here talking to myself. So, even though we got up to like 30 viewers, we probably had like 6 or 7 that were engaged, across the platforms. So I am glad to see. You know what? I should actually. Yeah, I don't see any comments coming off of Rumble. So, so Rumble people, I don't see how many viewers are on Rumble on my main screen here, because we're kind of tied in. Rumble makes you like tie in with that RTMP feed or whatever. It's really fancy. but yeah, so if you comment though on Rumble, I will see it, because I have Rumble as a separate, but I can't put the Rumble comments up on the screen because it just doesn't have that functionality. So I will just have to speak to it at that point. But, otherwise, though, I just want to say thanks to everybody. I appreciate you. I'm about to get out of here. Make sure you're subscribing. We're going to be putting up some more content. I'm working with Jack on getting him up to speed on some of the hardware and software. And so he's going to be dropping videos in the near future. I think he's got a good one on the New World Order coming up to kind of keep with the theme that we've been doing. But, once again, thank you, everybody. Wait, I see another comment here. Is that new? Rosa Joseph, just subscribe to YouTube. Very much appreciated, Rosa. Thank you so much. And since you're watching me here, I know that's a valid subscriber. Like, that kind of stuff matters to me, right? Like, I watch these channels of like how to grow your channel and this and that. And then some of these people, like it's on the shadier channels, they're like telling you to do all this stupid stuff, like subscribe to someone else's channel and they'll subscribe to your channel. And I'm like, why the hell would you want to do that? Like, who cares if you have 1,000 subscribers if no one's watching your content? Right? It's just, but like this, I guess there's a lot of dubious stuff that people do, but I'm not down with that. So I appreciate all of you. I will see you soon. I believe I'm trying to pick a day. So if you could leave in the comments, I'm trying to pick like a day of the week in particular to go live. And just have like a conversation about the week's events rather than kind of hijack everybody the same day. And, you just all of a sudden see these things randomly coming out. Like, is he going to be on tonight? I don't know. I was thinking about picking a day or 2 days to just come on. So if there's a day in particular that you think would be better than another day, leave your comments. I definitely will take that into consideration, because right now it's wide open as to what day I pick. But I'm going to try and sync it with Jack and see if maybe both of us can be on to kind of just back and forth. And then, of course, always highlight your guys' comments and, and such, just to make sure we're keeping everybody engaged. As always, if you find any information out there, you find any, like we did with the fires, right? Like we do all the time. Like we did with the fires, and we do all the time, where oh look, there are another 2 fires, there are another 2 fires, and then and then I come back on and kind of share that with everybody. So if you didn't see those episodes, those were good too. There were I think we're at like 21 food plant fires at this point. 19, but 2 of them were fertilizer plants. But honestly, I put them in the same category. That's in the last year. All right, on top of the bird flu, on top of the war with Russia, who's the #1 exporter of fertilizer, China's #2, like all of these things to take control. Watch that video; it's a good one. All right. Other than that, folks, thanks for watching. I'm out.
And like that,